Welcome to the second episode of Cryptids and Critters. Today we'll be talking about Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, or there's a few other names for it I can't.
Bro, you say Bigfoot. That's how I have to say it's Bigfoot.
Okay,
that's how you guys
I will.
And the most common name.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's Bigfoot.
So we're talking about the quintessential cryptid. What do y'all know about Bigfoot already? I want to get into this.
All I know is big feet.
Okay,
That's all I know.
William.
Well, Bigfoot is more animalistic, I guess, more on the apish side.
Not for real.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you talking about?
There you go.
All right. So before we get into this, do you think there's a possibility of him being real or not?
See, at this point in life, I think a lot of things are possible at this moment. We haven't really explored a lot of things, really. And the chance of a Bigfoot actually existing, I mean, it's not far out. It's not the most far out thing I ever heard, you know?
Yeah.
I heard a lot more weird things, you know, but, like, it's not far out. I think it's possible.
Okay. Let's get into kind of a semi-history of Bigfoot. Now, I usually would be citing sources and saying all this. Due to the sheer amount of stuff there is for Bigfoot and the maze it is, really, like everything leads to a dead end or it leads to something else, and it's a rabbit hole.
Hoax, yeah.
It's a rabbit hole, and that's all I want to say.
Or man in costume.
Exactly,
Yeah.
hoaxes, yeah.
Hoax. And then there's ones that are really convincing. That's like, are we sure it's a hoax? There's a good amount of good ones out there.
Yeah.
So let's just get into this. A little brief history. Bigfoot has easily, what I can remember, sightings and everything go to early American settlements. So colonists coming over and more going out west, really. I think there may have been a few early America colonies. I don't really know on that one. I'll have to check.
Yeah.
And I may, in next episode, I may have a little segment where I say, where we know that this happened, but it won't be a big part of that episode.
Right.
So, okay. We know there are accounts of Bigfoot from the Wild West. There are accounts of, and normally it's from fur trappers and hunters. Not really from gunslingers or anything like that. And one account that I know kind of really off the top of my head is, not completely though, is actually an account of someone that Theodore Roosevelt, one of our nation's presidents, did an interview of a guy, an old trapper who I think, old fur trapper who originated, I think, from Germany. He came over with a friend. He went up hunting with a friend, and I think they spent a couple days up there, and well, it didn't go so well because the friend actually ended up dying. The Bigfoot actually killed it.
Oh, so we have
Killed him.
a possible
kill.
A possible casualty from
Possible
Bigfoot.
casualty. And it's not just that. There's been a few of them where, I think there's one where like a group of these hunters and fur trappers got like kind of cornered in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, and they just got
Mauled.
No, they survived, but they were fighting basically all night just to survive. And
So you told me like one Bigfoot?
no, a group.
What was a group?
A group attacked them.
Okay. It was a
Attacked the
whole
cabin. A group attacked the cabin. I think they ended up killing one. But
Supposedly.
they supposedly killed one.
Yeah.
But again, they had to flee before they could even like get the body or confirm a kill or anything.
Well, why didn't they just return?
I mean, it was all night. I think they lost a few members to it as well. So it's something that they really didn't want to go back to and deal with again.
I don't know, bro.
I know. There's some of it's like, when you look into it, it's like,
You know, bring more people, come back, see the bodies there, you know?
Yeah.
That's
And then again, I think that body got dragged off. Because leading off that, cannibalism in hominids and apes isn't that uncommon. Most of our ancestors practiced it. I know it's kind of a touchy subject, but It happened.
Yeah, I think it's more touchy subjects out there.
Yes, there's more touchy subjects, but it happened. Cannibalism was a big thing. And it normally was through ritual. It wasn't really. And then, yes, there were times where it was purely for food. And a lot of times it was for ritual. And it wasn't. And the ritual ones, it was a lot of like the dead. They're giving back to their community or something like that. It's like, it was weird. But it would make sense if it was cannibalized corpses. They would cannibalize their own. Because that's a food source. Then looking into a little bit of an ecological side to this. Okay. When you think of North America, big predators you think of are what?
A bear.
Yeah.
You know, like a casual black bear.
Yes, it's a big predator.
That's what I think.
You know, like grizzlies, one of the biggest predators in North America. There's a weird thing where they never really crossed into the eastern United States.
How come?
They've always been western United States. All that strip, they've even gone down to Mexico and stuff. And that's it. Like, they never really colonized the eastern United States. And it's not a deal with food, per se, because eastern United States has its share of large predators. Again, maybe smaller, but if you look at it, kind of denser population. Because you had at one point, like, gators, wolves, cougars, and bears all in the same state, I think. I think Georgia may have had it. And, like, not to mention all the other predators that exist, as like a grizzly really couldn't come in and do fine. And it's like, it's not because there's a lack of food. Heck, there's Atlantic salmon, so.
All right, so what's the whole point of talking about grizzlies?
Why do you think they never crossed?
You tell me, dog. Oh,
so yeah, if you think it,
okay,
so if a Bigfoot is supposed to be this predatory, almost semi-predatory ape species, right? A big animal. If that role isn't fulfilled in the ecosystem, wouldn't something already like evolve to take it? But if a species that is an apex everywhere else does not cross over to an area that could be abundant and plentiful for it, don't you think there's some already filling that role? And that's a good thing. Like,
or
there's enough.
Or could it be human intervention that did it? You know.
See, here's the thing. They've been around way longer than humans have been in the Americas for quite some time. So have like grizzlies and everything. They've had time to cross over.
And remember, there were people before us too.
There were people before us,
exactly.
And they weren't really going to stop it. If you think about it, it's just an animal migration. You aren't really going to stop it in its tracks. It's only going to be a few filtering over, and then each generation it gets farther and farther. But yet, I think bison were nationwide.
What?
I'm pretty sure bison were nationwide. They were eastern bison. So, and cougars nationwide, wolves nationwide. The only other thing that I don't really think is nationwide is the large reptiles, but they're mostly to the south.
Oh, so okay. So you're telling me like a Bigfoot's like a.
It's an apex.
No, I wouldn't say that. More of the balancer of nature. No.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it'd be an apex predator in comparison to a grizzly. So your grizzly would be your western at this point. We'd have Sasquatch or Bigfoot being your eastern apex. Yes, they would have overlap in the west, but maybe they just got there a little earlier in evolution term. They got there a little earlier when, say, apes may have crossed over to the Americas. They may have gotten there a little earlier. So who knows? Who knows? And it doesn't help that a lot of the eastern United States is urbanized, so fossil records are a little sparse there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we have a lot of wild places, especially like Kentucky and the Appalachian Trail and mountains. That's just a plate. That's a singular ridge that I don't think is very good for conserving fossils.
See,
Like that's another thing. Kentucky isn't really good for conserving fossils because the only thing we have are she cells, I'm pretty sure. We've never found dinosaur bones. I think the only fossils we actually have of something big is like Cenozoic, which is in like, I think Big Blue Lick, or
bro, I don't know. You told me.
I think it's Big Blue Lick, where it's like I think mammoths were found, and like that's it really for Kentucky. So I mean, you apply that to about everywhere else, you're not really gonna find much because not a lot of it's good soil to, or was good soil to fossilize stuff in. So yeah, it does point to it's iffy. It is the most 50-50 cryptid I've ever heard of. Because
I mean, realistically, it's not far out to the point where
you can't really think of it happening.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Like a Cthulhu Rex
yeah,
that exists.
So the point is, it's not impossible, I say. But at the same time,
Is it?
could it be possible?
Yeah, like
I mean, it's more.
we
possible.
have no
It's more-
evidence of an ape, a large ape like Gigantopithecus, or any like thing that would maybe evolve into a Bigfoot, crossing over the Bering Strait or getting anywhere up near where the Bering Strait is in Russia, because you can't really make that trip in one generation. So I really, it's hard to like really put everything together.
Yeah, it depends what you believe in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you actually believe in all these sightings and everything, well, then you got a lot of evidence to look through.
Then there are a few where it's like, you can see it. Like, you can see that there's a possibility.
Not name one example then.
Again, I'm going to go back to, I talked to someone about this in the first episode, the Bluff Creek photo. That very
Oh,
signature
that-
photo
yeah.
that is like,
I know,
you
I
couldn't
see-
really hoax that.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people debunk it.
Really?
There's just some dude in a gorilla costume or something. You can easily notice their outline of the body through the suit.
That may be true, but also may not. Then there is some video, I did get to see some video evidence caught on trail cam. The most convincing one is it's a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch or an ape, at least, ape-like creature walking through some underbrush, and it like very much resembles like the sloping, almost very, very ape-like gait. Closest thing I can akin to is a gorilla-like gait, but like almost a female gorilla-like gait, because it's not as muscular. You can see. The thing that sets it apart from just being a gorilla that got out is the name of the thing's called the Junk Man, and it's really on full display for you to see that it's just walking through the brush, very ape-like gait. It would be really hard for a human to really replicate it because shorter hind legs, longer front legs. There's a few other ones of that, but it's like iffy. I don't really think of those as much. One of a hunter just like, he chased something onto this private land, saw it, and ran. And then another of it, like a small, like a figure kind of crossing something, going over like this ditch, and coming out on the other side, and where it stood was like, where it was standing to the height of the ditch, if it was a human, it wouldn't be visible. And it's like, yeah, you have sightings like those, but I think the first video was the most convincing because, again, the gait and the stride and the posture of it, there's nothing in North America that does that. A bear has kind of a hobbling gait, if you look at it, kind of slumped forward. It has a distinctive rump, that's what I'm trying to say.
Or could it be like a person, you know?
Do you really see a person getting into that position to be able to walk like that?
If they had a costume, yeah.
Again, it's like the gait doesn't make sense for like the front legs.
So we can just fake it.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true.
Props, you can just attach props or whatever. Yeah, that's the thing with evidence nowadays, you know?
You never know.
I know, it's more like you take everything with a huge grain of salt, a full table of salt, you know? Because people nowadays, they all want, you know,
Clout. Your 15 seconds of fame.
Oh, exactly.
So,
everybody wants that. So that's why I think
what are your opinions on this?
See, you always try to cut me off, I swear.
I mean, it just depends, I guess. It depends on...
You're really being the mediator here.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here being quiet. I'm just like, yep. I guess it would just depend on, like, if it was a man in costume, I mean, there would have been stilts and stuff to make people look tall and stuff. But if it wasn't a man in costume, yeah, it might be possible, I guess.
It's not the most far out thing.
Yes.
That's possible, you know. I think it's more possible than a unicorn actually existing. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Although a giraffe exists in here, a horse with a horn doesn't.
See, but that makes sense.
That somehow makes sense. All right.
There's a reason behind it.
There's a reason behind everything. All right. So yeah, they're like, and then we're getting into now. God, there's one that I can't remember. I think it was somewhere in Appalachia, where a kid got taken. This is more recent than like 1800s.
Case solved. There you go.
Thing is, the shape did not resemble human. It was humanoid. I think I remember like the very
going based on whose account.
I think the dad.
The dad. I was about to say it was the kid, and
no, the kid didn't come back.
No,
oh, okay.
Yeah, they were gone, and it's like I don't remember much of the story. I'll have to like rebrush up on it, but I'm pretty sure like I think the dad saw a little bit of it, or even maybe saw the kid got taken. He was shooken up to say the least.
Not number dead of the year. What are you talking about right there? Not dead of the year right there.
I mean, if you did see like something that's 10 feet tall, grab your kid, just dip. You really gonna fight it?
I mean,
yeah, I mean, yes, yes, you would, but like,
okay, so
if it took off, then
what's the father's account of what?
I don't exactly remember, and that's the thing. I need to brush up on it again.
Yeah, I'm about to say if he gives a lot more characteristics of it being more human and more ape, I'm like, it's probably the person, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of crazy people out in those woods, you know.
Yeah, if you think about it, like, some of these could be attributed to
actual people.
Actual people.
Yeah, because up in the mountains, you know,
there are people living up there, and it's like you never know.
Exactly. So I mean,
no offense to anyone living up there.
Yeah, no offense. I mean, I'm just saying that. In my opinion, the person from the city. That's what I think.
Yeah, so, like, if you look at it, it's so divided with Bigfoot.
I don't know. I think Bigfoot really fell off after.
It's really divided if you look at it, and there's a ton of hoaxes you can tell.
You know, fake footprints, fake fur. People in costumes, yeah. And
it's like, it's really obvious with some of the fakes.
I
or
think
CGI. I've seen a few CGI ones. Yes.
I think.
And either they're really convincing or they're.
You're seeing the one where these people sold a frozen Bigfoot in ice. It turns out just be a gorilla costume in ice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Bro, that was funny.
God, I feel bad for the guy who bought it.
For real, I'm like.
But you got played so bad. I don't feel bad, I do.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny.
But then there's another one. Let's get away from North America now. Well, away from the USA. Canada.
Damn.
Most of Canada lives in the southern part. Or the coast.
Yeah, everything up there.
Everything up there is just the Yukon and cold pine forest. And here's where I lead into my next point. I know
Canadians, they're the reason why.
Okay, kinda. You're not completely wrong, because there is a photo of what looks to be a young animal that was shot, and there's only one. There's accounts of it, of multiple photos have been taken, multiple things have been put out. But, did it? Okay, so,
Put one over here, goddamn, over here. Like you can't fit my fell off.
So, multiple accounts of these things and photos and multiple accounts of the event. And it all went wrong with like the evidence, and there's like one surviving photo, and it is kind of overexposed. And that may be a point where it may be a hoax.
Yeah,
but then again, you look at what happened with around it, it either looks like it's a hoax or they're trying to cover something up. It can go either way, and it looks like it's covering something up because people, I think, died.
I mean, if
people died from people, I'm pretty sure.
If you want to say,
and stuff got burned to the ground by accident.
If you want to say, take a picture of something, say, "Trust me, bro." I think that's the best option.
I think, yeah.
Oversaturate the photo, over contrast it, do everything you can to it. Say, "Trust me, bro."
But it's like, from what can be made out, it looks like an animal that had been shot. It looks humanoid, but not just because like, oh well, it had these defining features. No, it just looked different from a human. It did not look human, but it almost uncanny, to be honest. With like the shape and like look of it almost, because it was kind of slumped on its side, like it had been shot and laid on its side. But it was said to be like a young animal that had been shot by fur trappers up in Canada.
There we go. Case closed.
Bobcats are Canadian.
I know that. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
God, it's a good joke. All right.
Yeah, but kind of going off that, people might say, well, what about a lynx? It was bigger than a lynx. It was in that size range where it's like, it couldn't have been this, it couldn't have been that. So what is it?
Could have been like a real skinny bear.
Not the way it was laying.
Could be camera angle.
It could be camera angle, but when you have a defined shoulder there, something when an ape lays down, you actually have a defined shoulder.
All right, like again, I'm going back. Could be some dude in the costume,
Or some dude shot.
Some dude shot too, but
Because this was kind of before that whole costume craze came out. This is back in the 1800s and everything.
Oh, okay.
So this is when the
You should have said that earlier.
Yeah, I should have said that earlier. This is when I think it's the Canadian fur trade or something like that was big. I forget the name of the thing, but it's gone downhill now. It's not as big as it was. I think it's like a clothing store now. I'm pretty sure it's now, but back then they had like a small army of trappers and hunters. And when I say a small army, I mean like a sovereign nation that had trouble taking them on. They had that many people. And if they wanted to cover something up, they could have.
But...
So, and the events around it, because I'm pretty sure most of the photos got burned. Not like destroyed or lost, they got burned.
Supposedly they got burned.
Supposedly they got burned.
Trust me, bro.
But yeah, basically. And the only surviving photo is like, the dude who took the photo or the dude who got the photo mailed it to someone else to get it away. And it's like, huh. This is kind of going into, they were trying to hide something in my opinion. It makes sense. Like
I give you that one. It's a lot of effort to put into a hoax.
Yeah.
Even I wouldn't do this.
Like, yes, there are people who have done elaborate hoaxes before.
Yeah.
But to take photos and then to have them allegedly burned and everything destroyed?
And this happened in the 1800s where people didn't really care about clout that much.
Yeah, and this is like everyone had their simple life. Yeah. Simple life, just living on the farm. And that happens? Like I don't think that's a hoax in my opinion. They're trying to cover something up. And going back to Canada again, it would make the most sense. It would make the most sense. It's the biggest place that they could be without coming into contact with humans that much. And yes, you could have them in America and have them be very rarely coming in contact with humans if they know the right place in it, if they're smart. And by most accounts, if you think about it, if it's a smart animal, it may. As he was making that last time, like maybe they just don't want to be found by humans.
Can't blame them.
You really can't blame them.
Yes, I see you every day, god dang. if I was Bigfoot, I would want to see it every day too.
Okay.
But so yeah, William, what is your opinion on the evidence that I presented?
I mean, why would someone put that much money into a hoax if it was one?
Yeah, and we're talking also 1800s, so money is...
Kind of scary.
Yeah, money's kind of scarce, so why are we putting that much effort into hiding something that may be a hoax?
Yeah.
See, but then again, why would you?
Or it's just a murder.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Or it's just someone died and they're trying to cover that one up.
Well, yeah. Well, why would they cover it up? All right. Let's say they didn't cover it up. Who's gonna believe them? Be honest.
Again, major thing. Doesn't cover something up, it releases. Oh, there's humanoid things in America.
Don't worry about it. It's probably some dude in the costume.
Like, they also have enough sway to do that. They'd also have enough sway to kind of just do that. And again, you think about it, no one really had a gorilla costume back in the 1800s.
In 1800s, there were a lot of more pressing matters happening at that time.
Yes, very much. So why would someone make a gorilla costume, which I don't think I've ever heard of a gorilla costume from the 1800s. And then again, they were also thought as monsters back then, so...
So, but I mean, yeah, then at the 1800s...
Let's actually go off this with gorillas. I'm pretty sure until the 1500s, they were thought to be mythical creatures. 15 or 1600s, they were thought to be myth, legend. And then like some dude, I think they actually got like found and it's like, oh, they exist. They aren't just myths and legends. They're an actual creature. But like, then again, people may say, well, that's in Africa. You could really see like where they kind of came from there. We hadn't found bones from, and apes are, okay, one thing I will say, apes are notoriously bad at preserving fossils.
How bad?
The only thing we know of Gigantopithecus is teeth and a lower jaw, I'm pretty sure. The biggest ape to ever exist, we only have teeth and I think one lower jaw.
Easy. All right.
That's actually how most fossils go. Like you classify from a vertebra or a bone shard from the femur or teeth. Teeth very much happen a lot. So there may be a little bit less than we think, but because then you have dubious species. But getting away from that, like I can see it happening though where a species of giant ape, let's take Gigantopithecus for example, because I think they were up in one species was up in China, I think. I'm pretty sure there was a species in China.
All right, so we're going across the seas, right?
Across the seas. So this is Bering Land Bridge. Everyone's kind of moving over. There's a population of a few creatures moving over. I'm pretty sure Gigantopithecus was around during the Bering Land Bridge, or something closely related to it before it was around then. They move up. Some of them die through generations. Larger coat comes out because they're going north. Colder. So it makes sense, in all honesty, that apes are bad at preserving bones. So why haven't we found any? They just kind of suck at it. Like we don't really have many fossilized apes. A lot of them are from like partial skulls, partial like, teeth, or jaws. Like that's it. I think maybe a few in the hands I've heard of. And like the best ones we have are of our genuses. And like, I think Australopithecus, members of species of the genus Homo. So like our ancestors and closely related ones I think are the best ones we found of primates. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, I think we're like the best ones because like.
We bury our dead, you know.
Not even that. This was like.
I think.
There may be that, but also there's butcher marks on a lot of those bones. On a few of those bones, so they got 8. So yes, there was some, I think, burial when you got into early humans. Yes, there were some burial things, and I could see that. But then again, we have a lot of evidence for like more ape-like relatives.
I mean, yeah, we did it. We evolved from apes, right?
Yeah.
Or was it monkeys?
Apes.
Apes, yeah.
We're a great ape. And it's like we have a lot of evidence for that, but nothing on a lot of other apes. Which is so weird if you think about it.
Which, hear me out. Hear me out. Aliens. Explains everything. Even Bigfoot. There, the case closed. Think about it.
We'll get into those later.
So if something unnatural happens, you can blame on aliens.
That's what most people do.
Can't blame them.
So, thoughts on the pyramid? Just kidding. So what's your perspective on this?
I'm gonna have to agree with her. Aliens.
Bigfoot. Hair alien. Case closed. There we go.
Alright, okay.
Which I know I think sounds more far out than
It does. It does sound way more far out than it just evolving. But
I mean,
if you look at it from different perspectives, an ape in the Americas doesn't completely not make sense.
No, because
like again, we have primates in the Americas, monkeys.
There's different types of
and Bigfoot might not even be an ape. That's one thing.
Could be a person in a
No. If we take away the person, we take away like any ape aspects, it might just be one of the like any of the New World monkeys.
So one we haven't found yet.
Kinda.
Which I mean,
it makes sense because there were New World
surprising,
monkeys.
Because how much land we turn into usable land for us,
And then how much we don't.
and
There's a lot we don't. Canada is very untouched.
we're talking about Canada or the U.S.
We're looking at most of North America, which is Canada. So a lot of, and that's where I really see them happening. Yes, there are I think a few accounts in Georgia, and the dude's like, there's like multiple accounts of it where it's like he's seen like an arm just go through the trees, or like he's seen like glimpses of them, or heard them, or seen like one stand next to a car that it's like it kind of towers over the car.
Moonshiners, I'm telling you.
But it's like I'm not gonna mess with them because there's something going on where they're not messing with me, so I'm not messing with them. That's completely logical in my opinion. Like, again, if they're as big as he says they are, and they're just kind of being peaceful right now, and if they're apes or primates in general, you don't want to make them mad because that's gonna be something you don't want to know. They're not gonna find you.
I mean, but then again, hear me out.
Because you're basically making a roided up chimpanzee. A 10-foot tall chimp.
USA guns, that's what I'm going to say. USA guns. I'm with you. Humans are the best
Killers.
apex predators out there. All right,
Yes, with weapons,
We
mind
are
you.
on top. Even without weapons, we are on top.
You
Even
think you
without
can
weapons.
take a tiger and fight? No, I'm just kidding.
Prep time. That's all I need.
Yeah, we're basically the Batman of all apex predators.
Exactly. I mean, realistically speaking, how we get here?
Brains. That's how
Exactly.
we got here.
I mean, yeah.
So, going and looking at it, it's like, and also if we're going off like the guns thing. Back in the day, it took a ton of volleys to take down a grizzly. So, makes sense why not a lot of Bigfoots were killed if you think about it. It took a lot to take down something that's about their size.
But I'm saying, what's really stopping us from going over there? Just tearing everything up over there. Here in the
smart.
U.S. All right, here in the U.S.
They're smart. And it's just like any other ape. They don't want to be found. They aren't going to be found. And it's an ape species that we wouldn't know much about, so we don't know any of their patterns. We can find gorillas, we can find chimps, we can find orangutans because we know where they are. They're endangered enough to where we know where they are. Yeah. We know where to look. Either they stay around humans, or orangutans in particular, or we just know where they are and people have hunted them before. And we know how to find them because people grew up in that area around them.
I mean,
mind you, we decimated the Native American population, so if they knew something about it, that's gone. So if they knew how to track these things down and find out what they are, that's gone.
I mean, I find it kind of interesting. Out of all of the Bigfoot sightings and stories and everything, I never once heard the
natives
natives being brought up, not even once. It's kind of, I find it kind of weird
because like if we think about it,
up, and they were
like,
here way before us too.
It's like if it exists and they knew it existed, either it wasn't a big part of their lives, it didn't exist, or they just really never came into contact, or they saw them as sacred animals And you saw they saw what they were doing to the buffalo.
Or it just never existed.
Yeah, like there's either that or they just kind of saw what they were doing to the buffalo.
As of right now, I never heard
a native say it.
Native bring it up or anything.
Native bring it up, but it's not like an account of he saw it or anything. It's like in legend.
Yeah, it could be told through stories.
Through stories, you don't hear that. And again, I'm not really well versed in it. None of us are. So there may be stories about something similar.
Yeah.
And I think there are a few humanoids in a lot of Native American mythologies. But it's like, again, you never hear that.
Oh, how kind of weird.
But you also hear of Bigfoot sightings from that time. From early America. We don't, and it's weird because like, it makes sense and doesn't at the same time. The natives really wouldn't think much of them. The Americans wouldn't think much of them. They're just probably something they'd see every day.
Could have been.
They'd occasionally see. It'd be like almost a bear.
Yeah, like, oh, there's fucking.
Oh, there it is. Big man.
But
and then you got these, and then you got white settlers coming over like, that's not normal. That's very not normal. That is like 10 foot tall. Looks like us, but hairy.
So, yeah, but to my opinion, right? The thing about Bigfoot is it sounds too casual
to be true.
To be true, but at the same time,
it doesn't.
It sounds more realistic for it to be possible.
Yeah, and we'll go in. I think it's episode 6.
If we get there, shit.
If we get there, but episode 6, we'll be talking about the beast of every dawn, a cryptid that killed. We still don't know what it is. So Bigfoot kept making these confirmed casualties and kills, supposedly. And I will go back to the Roosevelt one. Roosevelt was the biggest person on knowing when somebody was lying. He would not trust it. He was one of the biggest people on knowing, I don't believe you. You don't make sense. He would call you out on that on the spot. And he believed this old guy. And also, he accounts, I think, with he is not really good talking about this. He didn't like the dude he interviewed, he didn't really like talking about it. He didn't. It's weird because if you gotta think, if your friend if things went, because before that, the days that they were there, things went wrong. Traps got broken. And then he goes to collect the traps. He leaves his friend there at the camp to pack everything up. He gets back and he's kind of leaned over a log, his neck back, bite marks in it, and something had romped around in front of it. I mean, if it's a bear, the dude would have been eaten a bit. If it's a cat, he would have been dragged off. Wolves, eaten.
Yeah.
It just bit the neck. Like, crushed the windpipe, bit the neck, did all that, and then just romped around in front of it like it was kind of celebrating. That doesn't make sense for a big predator. Maybe a big omnivore. Because I think chimps do celebrate kills. To some extent.
Yeah, but like I said, what's a chimp doing out there?
There's no chimp. So what would that make sense? What would make sense? If it also made sense that, there may be this big ape out here that has confirmed kills. And it's things line up too weird to really be a hoax there either.
Yeah, because when it starts to, get to people dying, that's when you gotta start,
looking hold on.
Okay.
Could this be a thing? Could this be real? And then there are a few of them where it's you can tell that it's almost a fever dream. Like the Bigfoot's just, there's one of one popping into a barn, a baby in a barn is nearly the size of a human. And then the adults come in and they're already looking in through a 2-story window. Yeah, I think that's one of the ones that's dear Lord.
Oh, heck no.
Yeah, no.
Imagine if they were that tall, actually.
Yeah, it's I can get it if they're tall. I can get it if they're big.
Yeah, I'd be
10 foot, yeah.
10 foot, okay, that makes
10,
sense.
15 foot? And pushing a big male, maybe.
I think you're pushing right there.
Yeah, push it, that'd be pushing it, but it could happen. if we're going off males getting 10 foot, or males and females getting 10 foot, and then a big male comes along.
Giraffes exist, so I mean.
That's a good point. They're one of the most mythical things that we know exist.
But at the same time, I think like pushing 15 feet, that's
15 feet, yeah, pushing.
Yeah, when we're trying to say that you're 20 feet high as a building, you know, like high as a
and looking
house.
through a two-story barn loft window. That's like, are you sure you are conscious while looking at this?
That's when I start to suspect you're on that, you know, on that.
So that's another thing where it's like, there's some of them where you can tell that they are out there. Really out there.
They're really out there.
And then there are a few that's like, they come with a picture that's so you can trace back to somewhere else. And you can tell that they're kind of a hoax. But then there are those ones where it's like, hold on.
Hold on, okay, maybe we should step back and actually look at this.
Yeah.
But that's rarely.
And then there was a photo, I think, of like the Pacific Northwest where it's taking a photo and it's like, there's this figure in one of the corners. And it's like, from what I'm seeing, and from what I gathered from it, it had too much of a dog-like muzzle to be it, so I'm just putting that one up to a bear. But I may be wrong there. I may completely be wrong there. We could discover a Sasquatch tomorrow. And this could, I know, I'm just saying. Anything could happen.
Anything could happen, you know, like, anything could happen. Bigfoot come to the school, you know, give us a first-person interview right here, right now. First interview with Bigfoot. We probably wouldn't stand him, but you know.
We probably wouldn't.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Although it doesn't help the species hiding from humans that much because, again, a very easy example of this is the coelacanth. We thought that thing was extinct, and we find that people in the West Indies are, I think West Indies or in Polynesia, are just eating them every day. They just fish them and eat them every day.
So could we be looking at the wrong places, you know?
We could. We very much could be looking at the wrong places. And they could exist because and the weird thing is they're localized accounts from different parts of the world. They're not everywhere. Like, what is it, Tibet with the Yeti? That one actually has Tibet and Australia. I think Australia has like the skunk ape or something like that.
I thought the Yowie.
The Yowie?
Is it Yowie or Yowie somewhere different?
I think it's the Yowie. I'm pretty sure it's the Yowie for Australia. Skunk ape, I think, is North America.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's the Yowie. It's like those actually make sense. Because, again, what is Oceania and Australia? Connected to a lot of islands where orangutans can be found. Historical range for orangutans was all over there. It's all over there. Not in Australia. What makes you think that there isn't an ape in Australia? Humans got there. Marsupials got there. Dingoes got there through humans. So what makes you think that they couldn't get there and evolved to be live in a more arid environment? And the Yeti is, to be honest, for how unexplored, if you really think about Tibet is, it's a bunch of mountains.
Yeah, the mountains.
It's like, oh well, there's not a lot of forest. No, there can be. A few areas I think are pretty heavily forested.
Yeah, there's just no point in going
over there because it's a death trap most of the time. So it's like, a Yeti would make sense. They're right next to where orangutans' like historical range was.
And
Gigantopithecus historical range. So what makes you think that one couldn't evolve there?
Yeah.
And also, I'm pretty sure there's like a skull cap and a bone hand. I don't know if those were proven to be fake or not, but I'm pretty sure they are. There's somewhere in a Tibet village there are remnants of a Yeti. And it's like it could make sense over there. America's where it starts getting a little iffy.
Yeah, because it's to have
there's
a background.
No apes.
No, I'm saying it's starts to have a background of it being, you know, hoaxes and clout, you know.
And yes, the Yowie could be as well because I've heard a story of like, oh yeah, I've seen Tasmanian tigers. They hang out with the Black Panthers down at the lake. Yeah, basically, yes. That's an account I heard.
From who?
No, that's like I was watching something. I heard an account. It's like some dude who was looking at. I think it was the Extinct or Alive dude. If you know what I'm talking about, if you know the show, then you know who I'm talking about. It's the main dude from that show. It's like tries to find these creatures. whether they're extinct or alive. He did one on the Malagasy hippo. He actually found a leopard species. That's one. They thought that was extinct, but it's like I think he got like approached by somebody and it's like, oh yeah, I see the Tasmanian tigers. They go hanging down by the water with the Black Panthers. And this is in Australia where there are, it's basically that. And it's like, it's kind of just as much as America if you think about it with that. But the one thing I will point to, coming into conclusion, kind of wrapping this up a little bit, is America is 50-50 for Bigfoot.
More like 20-75, but you know.
Wait, where's the other 5?
20. Oh, I meant 25.
Okay, let's go with 25-75.
75 being
Yowie, I want to push 40-60. 40 in its favor, 60 in it and not because of where it is. And like those islands connecting, if the water just receded, they could like get to Australia easily. It makes too much sense that there's not an ape there. It doesn't make sense that there's not an ape there. It makes too much sense that there would be an ape. Because I think New Guinea had, I don't think it's New Guinea. I think it's Papua New Guinea. Had or has orangutans.
All right. Well, at the end of the day, you know.
But then, wait, hold on. Let me do. Yeti.
Yeti. What about the Yeti?
I want to get into this for a little bit.
Oh, you got like a minute.
I'm saying it's 80-20.
Yeti?
Yes.
80 being people don't really think it exists.
No,
20
80 in its favor of it being not less mythological, less anything else, but actually real because it makes sense where it would be.
Well, it makes sense, but at the same time, we got proof. No,
we do.
You know, 80.
There's actually, I think there's some genetic material in a skull cap. A skull cap.
Could have been a person. There we go.
Like it legitimately. And it's weird because it's not white fur either. It's the reddish brown. Not completely orangutan reddish brown, red, but it's like, it's reddish brown. It's a hand. It's like, it's the one with the most backing, yet it's so mythologicalized. And I think there is some in mythology from Tibet of a giant ape. So it appears in their mythology. And they have stuff on it. It makes the most sense for it existing.
All right.
So, okay, let's give final thoughts. Okay, is it living or legend?
Legend. Real. I'm more leaning to it being, you know, it's not far out there where it's possible. You know, it's not that far out, but at the same time, it's really casual. Like, you know, somebody can make anything up. It's like it's really normal compared to other things out there. It's more possible. But at the same time, I'm more leaning to...
It's not normal enough.
I'm more leaning to... I don't think it exists.
All right. William, living or legend?
I'd probably think it's probably legend.
Okay.
Oh, you really can't tell with
anything.
Nowadays.
The cloud. It really comes to seeing is believing for a lot of these things. A lot of these things are seen to believe it. If you see it trying to tell somebody else, they ain't gonna believe it.
Yeah, like if you saw a person like, oh, I saw Bigfoot, and you try to tell your friend, you're like, yeah, you're
you're losing a screw.
Yeah, time to call them into hospital.
Exactly.
So,
then what about you think? What do you think?
Bigfoot legend, Yowie legend, Yeti made living or extinct?
So you think it actually
existed at one point?
Okay.
At one point. It may not be existing anymore because I don't think there's any accounts anymore of it. And that's the weird thing, that they kind of just stopped.
People start reporting sightings. There you go.
People start reporting sightings. What if it just died off?
Can't blame.
If it died off, then it kind of makes sense that no one knows of its existence. Everyone thinks it's legend because it did pop up in legends occasionally. And it's like an ape-like creature that pops up in legends, more mythological based in legends, but wouldn't it be based off something? Because myths tend to be rooted in something very loosely, though. But
yeah, it tends to explain something that happened a while ago.
So, an ape? I don't think there are many apes in Tibet. Y'all can check me on that, but yeah. So that's my kind of thing with the Yeti being possible.
It could have existed.
Could have
at some
existed
point.
at some point. Is it still living today? Maybe not. Maybe it went extinct. But yeah, so that's just about it for this episode for Bigfoot today. We did go over mostly Bigfoot and a few on the Yeti and Yowie.
Which I mean, is
I think it's the Yowie. Yeah, that one I'm gonna have to fact check.
Yeah.
I think it's Yowie for Australia.
I heard people call it Yowie, but I don't know where though.
I'm pretty sure that's Australia. But yeah, so I think this is it for this episode of Cryptids and Critters. I will say next week we have a fun one.
Yeah, favorite episode, yeah.
We also have a birthday special for Richard for Mothman. Is he an owl? Is he a moth? Is he a man?
I think he's part moth, half man. That's what I think.
What, did he let himself go after the bridge? But
For real.
But thank you for signing on to Cryptids and Critters for this week's episode. See y'all next week for the Mothman episode, and signing off.